Hi everybody, welcome to Krasno Airfield. But look, this is a Krasno Airfield that is a little bit more interesting than the normal one, which is pretty empty. Forgive my character; he's managed to get himself some food poisoning, and actually, looks like he's about to die, doesn't he? Great. Okay, so Krasno Airfield has always been a little bit quiet, but with the new 1.15 tools that Adam and his team have given us for DayZ, it is now incredibly easy to spawn structures and items in that can also give you loot. So what I've done is I've put together a little custom package on my GitHub so that you too can upload these files and XML snippets to your server so you can add a little bit of interest to Krasno. Let's go to FreeCam to give you an idea. Right, here we go. And the idea is, well, the idea is to, I always think, is to try and tell a little bit of a story, isn't it, with what's happening. So obviously this is fairly self-explanatory. You've got a little police roadblock there, and you've got some cars that we're trying to get to, maybe an Evac plane. And then if we come over here, we can see there is a permanent helicopter crash that will always be there. And then we've got some simple military tents and a couple of military containers. And these spawn loot. The helicopter crash spawns loot. Interesting, the helicopter crash doesn't spawn dynamic loot, just normal loot. And then actually going back over here, I don't think the C-130 spawns any loot, but all the vehicles spawn the normal loot you would find in. And also I've included in the instructions how to spawn in zombies as well. So you'll have some police zombies there, and then you'll have some military zombies there. And I think this is really just the tip of the iceberg of what we'll be seeing from the console and PC modding community over the next weeks, months and years, as we can really add our own signature to the map and tell all these wonderful stories as well for Chernarus, Livonia, and on PC some of the other maps as well. So how do you do this? Well, what you want to do is you want to go over to my GitHub repositories. I'll put a link in the description down below, and in the DayZ Chernarus Krasno Airfield NEAF custom Evac POI for console and PC repository, you'll find basically there's some screenshots so you can kind of look at it kind of before if you want to. And there's the NEAF evac.json file, which is the custom file that you're going to upload to your server in the custom folder, or you're going to create a custom folder if you're on PC. And there's the README that contains all of the instructions. So what you want to do is you want to click on the code button and click on the download the zip. That will then download it to you. And then when you've got that, you want to then open that up in your favorite text editor, and then you want to know where the other file's gone as well. So for example, with me, I've got mine here. So we've got NEAF evac.json and then the README. And then what I've done with the README is I go through in quite a lot of detail about what you've got to do. So just slowly follow these instructions. First off, you need to make sure that your server has the gameplay.json activated. So you want to go into the settings, you want to go into general settings, and you want to go down to the bottom and make sure that enable CFG gameplay.json is activated. If you're on PC, on Nitrado, you'll see an option to activate expert settings, and then you go into the expert settings, and then you have to add a line that says enable CFG gameplay file equals 1, or if you've got direct access to the server dz.config file, you can just put it in there as well. Once you've got that, then the only file that you need to upload strictly is the CFG gameplay is the NEAF evac.json file, and you'll do that by going to your file browser. Go into the missions folder, so PS missions, XB missions, or just missions. And if it's Chernarus, go into the Chernarus folder. If it's Livonia, go into the Enoch folder. And on console, we have the custom folder now where you've got to put these files. If you're on PC, create a custom folder. You don't have to on PC strictly, But if you're the sort of person who's probably going to come to me for these sorts of files, or you're going to be uploading lots of different JSON files, then to have them in a separate directory might be a good idea. And so once you go to custom, you would then go upload file, and then you would just upload the NEAF evac.json file. And then you need to open up the CFG gameplay.json file. So you'll find that in the root folder of the mission folder. So you'll find CFG gameplay.json. So you can download that, or you can open it up if you want in the web. And within that file, you want to find the object spawners array line, which is there, and then you want to add that line custom /neaf evac.json. So custom is saying look in this folder, and then you've got the file name, and it's surrounded by quotation marks and square brackets. And in the readme as well, I just show you the beauty of this system is that as we add more custom areas, you just have it as a separate file. You don't have to make one file bigger and bigger and bigger. So you could have a file from me, you could have a file from Don, you could have a file from Balshad, you could have a file from anybody, PC or console, and the server looks into those files. Now that just spawns the buildings in, but I always think, although it's nice to make areas that are a little bit more interesting, DayZ is about loot, isn't it? So you want to then add this bit here, this chunk here, to the top of your map group pos.xml. So again, if you go into your root directory and just look for map group pos. Now, here's a little trick. Sometimes you can't access the map group pos.xml. It won't let you. So what you do is just download it and then open it up in your favorite text editor, and then just paste the file in, save it, and then upload it over the top. That's the easiest way to do that. And basically what this is doing is just where all these items are spawning in on the map, it's telling the central economy, say for example, say this bottom one, this container, it's saying, hey DayZ, look, I've placed a military container at these coordinates, so the latitude and longitude and that altitude, with a rotation of 158 degrees and a separate rotation of -68. Don't ask, it just does. That's why I've done all this for you. Could you please spawn the appropriate loot inside this container in the correct locations? So that's why when you get into a tent, you'll find stuff on the table or you'll find stuff on the floor. Really cool file, the map group pos.xml. So then you would then save that and upload that. And then the final little bit is, if you want to, you can add zombies to it as well. So what you want to do is you want to go into the env directory, or the env folder, and you'll want to open up or download the zombie territories.xml file. Done it already. And then you want to find the bit that's about the infected army, make a little bit of a space, and then paste in what I've written there. And then if you go up a little bit, you'll find the infected police section, and then you paste in the other section. You don't have to put the zombies in, but again, that's DayZ, isn't it? It's loot and zombies, or infected. Here's the thing though, if they're why does the game call them ZMBHs if they're not zombies and they're infected? Anyway, so you'd save that, and then you can upload that over the top of the file, and then you just restart your server. And that, my friends, is it. And what you'll find is the structures will spawn in straight away on a server restart, and then the loot that's in and around the stuff. Let's see if we can see anything. Got my camera going a bit fast, haven't I? Anyway, the loot that's there will spawn in slowly. So sometimes it'll appear pretty quickly. Other times it'll take a little bit longer as the central loot economy in DayZ starts to do its thing. And also zombies as well. If you've got people here, they won't spawn in, but as people approach, they'll then go. So there we go. A little evac point at Krasno Airfield in the northeast of Chernarus. now I've done one, it is actually easier than I thought it would be. All the time is actually taken. I use something called DayZ editor on the PC to place all the items, and then you have to make sure they're on the ground properly. Sometimes you have to tip them over like the aeroplane so they look right, and then you export all the settings, and then you have to edit them so they're right, so you get the loot. But now I've done it once, I think it's a very cool thing to do to go through and create these custom locations. I'm kind of thinking, what am I going to do next? What little areas of the map can you go, and you could create these little points of interest that tell these little stories about what happened in Chernarus and Livonia and various places, with the coming of the virus and everybody becoming infected. But there we go. Hopefully you find that useful. If you have, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe, and I will of course see you again soon.